guys, this show is incredible.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the second season finale. It was like so amazing. But there's so many things about the show I want to talk about, and you guys too, right? Let's start at the beginning. When you guys originally read the pilot, what we see as an audience is so relatable, and I think one of the most genuine things about the show is you watch it and you just feel for each and every character. When you initially read the script, did you see that as well in the writing?
Absolutely, right away, yeah. That was one of the things that that sort of drew us all to it. I think in Milo and I, one of the first conversations we had about the script was that it was about people. It was about people and their everyday lives and things that actually happened, and it was like, this is just a dude. It was just something different that I had never read anything quite like this, and I remember thinking, you know, man, if we can pull this off, if we can do half as good as what's written, we've got something special. And then when we ended up watching the pilot all together as a group, it was like 10 times as good as it read.
We all saw it. We absolutely all saw how great and how magical this moment was, and how everyone included, you know, it's not just us actors up on the screen, it's the words we're speaking, it's the production value, it's the camera, it's the hair, it's the makeup, it's the wardrobe. It truly is one of these mathematical impossibilities that this group of people
care so much
and hold it, like Justin actually said it the best, it's like this beautiful baby, and we're all there to protect it. Because Mandy and I, we talk like a married couple, like a real life married couple, about raising our kids, and what do you think about this? Do you agree and all this? And
Sterling and I are like a married couple too.
Yeah.
I actually have Sterling read the script to me.
Yeah.
I like his voice. I'm like, I'm just gonna close my eyes, read me the script.
There I go. Well, you and Mandy have created this dynamic. It is a marriage. Like, I know it's acting and suspension of disbelief and all that, but the basis for the relationship is so obvious and so apparent. Did you guys even know each other before you were cast?
No, we met on the I'd say the studio test, and Mandy and I literally met. Hi, I'm Milo, I'm playing your husband, and then like my neck, my face was buried in her neck. It's kind of an odd experience as actors, but you know, one of those things that you do. But Mandy and I, when we did have the role, we just had a conversation. And I said, listen, from action to cut, I am your husband.
Yeah.
So let's make sure we communicate. I'm not happy unless you're happy. Hopefully you're not happy unless I'm happy, you know, so let's really try and build this relationship together. It's important that mom and dad look like a unified front, a secure, you know, group, you know, parent for the kids. Mm-hmm. So it was important for us, like, really make sure that we respected what a real marriage was, because, like, I myself am not married, you know, but playing a good husband, I'm like, all right, I gotta do right by that. You know, we're playing a good father, like, gotta do right by that.
You play an excellent father and husband, and I mean, even with the husband-wife relationship, there's faults, and that's
Absolutely.
what life is about, you know?
Yeah, the ugly.
Yeah.
You gotta be able to play the ugly too. Say that?
Same. Yeah.
Well, you know, Justin, with your character, you're sort of on the surface, you're like, oh, he's got it all. He's a star and beautiful
Good looking,
and
wealthy, successful, famous.
What we really see in the episode number 1, and where you guys get to work together, we see what's really going on underneath. So I want you to talk a little bit about how do you, at the beginning you would think, oh, I'm not sympathetic to, you know, his character, but then you end up being extremely sympathetic. How did you create that dynamic?
Thank you. You know, I saw, when I read that character, I saw those things as well. He's got the fast cars, he's got women, he's got everything, fame, everything you can imagine, he's got everything. And then immediately I was like, no, here's a guy, it's the saddest thing in the world. He's got all of that, and he is standing in a crowded room, completely alone. But if he's distracted enough, he won't have to talk about his dad's death. And if he's distracted enough, he won't have to talk about how he ruined things with Sophie. And if he's distracted enough, he won't have to talk about how his relationship with his brother and his mom sucks, because he won't have to talk about that stuff and deal with it. And so I approached it that way, and I think that as honest as I can be with all of that stuff, it allows them for me to have fun with him on the comedy side of it, because I feel like he's earned it.
And Milo, let's talk about the death.
Okay, great.
A rare opportunity to talk to somebody after they die.
when did you find out, in fact, that you were going to go to the hospital and it was actually going to be the smoke inhalation and not in the fire?
I knew pretty early on that it was in fact smoke inhalation because he'd run back in for a few prized possessions of the family. And it was one of those things, just like Dan Fogelman, to, take this moment where this man is being so heroic in getting his family out, but also, he's thinking about these small things like, Rebecca's necklace and the photo books and the dog and all of this. He's just trying to always give to his family, but ultimately, he gave the one thing that he probably shouldn't have.
How was filming that scene? Was the fire practical? Was it CGI?
Oh, it was real.
Yeah.
No, that was real fire. All of our crew that's in the room filming have full fireman outfits on, Nomex face masks.
And you're in pajamas?
And I'm in pajamas.
Looking up.
That were fire treated. They were safe. My face to fire makeup. There's no such thing as fire makeup. But
It's called burn.
yeah. So, and the camera started rolling, and then you hear the flame bars come on. And then it gets overtaken by this like this loud, angry fire. And I remember I looked down at one of our cameramen, it was Bo, and he's just got his eyes through these little things that on his camera, and he looks up at me as we're both hearing the same thing and going, oh, fudge, we're about to open this door. And action is called, and I opened the door, and I saw the angriest sight I've ever seen in my life. Real fire that we were staring down. And I was honestly like, this is real, this is terrifying. And I remember closing the door, and then Glenn, our first assistant director, was like, no, we need to open the door and get, shoot some of the flames. So we opened the door, and then the fire started licking into the room. I'm like, no, close the door, Glenn, close the door, close the door, close the door. Yeah, that's real.
I have a question, maybe directed more towards Justin, but both of you if you'd like.
Okay.
With the relationship dynamics between Kate and Jack and Randall and Beck, what would you say that Kevin, I guess, how did that affect him, going into his older years and into what we see him now?
I think tremendously. I think that him feeling like he's always like the fifth wheel or left out, whether that's the case or not, that's how he feels.
Sure.
So I always say, it doesn't really matter what's actually happening, it matters how you feel about what's happening. And that's how he feels, right? He misses his dad, he's never gonna have another conversation with his dad ever again.
God, if he could have just read that note that was in the fire that Jack put on.
Yeah.
Ooh, how heartbreaking was that?
Yeah, I think it informs.
Grounded, I love you.
Yeah. I think he texts me that every morning.
Dude. Yeah, I really do. I love
Grounded,
you.
I love you.
Grounded.
No, but I think it informs everything that he does, and who he'll become as well, which is gonna be kind of fun to see.
Okay, so what was the most difficult scene for you guys to film? Both acting techniques and just emotionally.
Good question.
Got it, great. I had a couple. If you guys notice Jack, he doesn't cry much. He's very stoic. He's kind of, the rock in the storm. I myself cry. I definitely am emotional. Things really, really do get to me. So I've had a few scenes where I just had to keep my together. Sorry for the young ears, guys. I apologize. Sometimes I curse. Sorry.
It's okay, they're used to it.
But
You're grounded.
Grounded, but I love you. There was the scene where Jack is taking Randall to karate. I really had a hard time not sobbing my eyes out. Really had a hard time. And then another moment, the moment where you see when Rebecca sees Jack dead on the table, and I'm just kind of fuzzy in the background. That was a hard moment because my friend Mandy Moore is breaking, and I'm hearing this half of her is dying character, and that was just really hard to hear. So that was a moment that I just had to be still because I didn't want to, be like, no, I'm good. Don't let this makeup, these wires don't mean anything.
And then to Justin, the tears. The moment when you lost Jack's necklace and you were out there crying That's the moment that I lost it. I was sitting there just bawling, and my kids are looking at me going, "What's wrong, Mom?" You know, because I'm like in tears. So where deep, I mean, you're talking about emotions, but where deep does that come from for you? Where do you go when you think of something that could get you that emotional?
Two-part answer. Number one, I don't talk about it because if I talk about it, then it's like therapy, and then it doesn't work anymore. Well, that doesn't work anymore. I've done that before. I'm like, well, I can't
Don't
use that
tell
anymore.
them where the secret fortress is.
No.
Fortress of Solitude, man. Yeah.
Right.
Superman doesn't want you to know.
No. But I will say to you that I use things that may or may not have happened, or if they haven't happened, that if they did happen, they would be absolutely devastating. But I don't know, life is tough, right? So we all have our moments, and I think if you go into that, what I always call like in a private moment, and you're honest with yourself, I think it's, gosh, I mean, like that's all he had.
That actually might have been, that episode was a beautiful episode, you know, such a showcase and for people to really see what you are capable of as an actor. But that same moment in that episode, I was in tears the whole thing. Because I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And you know, you portray this man so beautifully in that moment of loss, especially and longing to be connected to his father. And I'm like, and I'm the father on the other end, and like that hurts. I'm like, no, I'm here for you.
Yeah, it was, and to me, it was that thing was like it wasn't like that's the only thing that he had of his father, and that's all he had. That's the only thing he had of his father that represented what his father was before he became what he's becoming, and it was just this horrible. You know, it was the last thing.
God, even in the moment where, well, when he gives him the necklace, he says, you know, you were my purpose. Like that whole thing's, you know.
It's well written too. I mean, the show's so well written that it makes our job a lot easier to be honest.
Heroes in a little show called The Whispers.
Oh yeah, you watched that thing.
I sure did. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your experience on Heroes in the Whispers, and do you think that we can go ahead and just blame Drill for Jack Pearson's crock pot incident?
You got, wow, none of you watched that show because none of you have any idea what she's talking about. Okay, Heroes was great. I felt like Heroes was one of those early television shows that was taking an X-Men idea and plugging it into mainstream. It was great. We had a good time. We enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, I don't, you know, without getting like specific, but you know, we really had a great time on that. And The Whispers, that was a show that just, sadly, nobody watched. There was this bad character, it was an alien, it was actually.
That'll happen from time to time.
That'll happen from time to time, over and over and over again. I mean, how many shows have you been on that people haven't watched?
Thank you for the question.
Because I've been, a lot.
10? I don't know, a lot, yeah.
Anyhow, there was this alien creature named Drill that was responsible for electricity. God, what a great tie-in. I never thought about that. I just thought, you know, I mean, you know, don't blame it on George, the neighbor.
You know, it's true though, when you mentioned like all the different credits that you guys have on your resume, people kind of see one thing and you know, but it takes a long time to get to a place where you're part of something really special like This Is Us. You know, it's not an overnight thing. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. Hi.
So in the show, you know, they use Jack Pearson as a verb. So like you get Jack Pearson. Just wondering for both of you, is there a moment in your life, like in real life, that you've been Jack Pearson or that you've Jack Pearson someone else?
I've been Kevin Pearson.
What?
No,
But tell me what this is. And then I'm leaving.
No, because he's a successful actor or something, like you get pulled out of line, and like kind of like.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I've been Kevin Pearson.
Oh, that's cool.
It was nice. It never happens. It was the first time. It was like a month ago. I was waiting in line for a restaurant, and someone walked over and said, "Table for two," and I went, "Yes." The other 45-minute wait, and these like 70,000 people there.
They're like, we're Kevin Pearson and you.
It's a new term.
It's a new one, Kevin Pearson.
I got to pose in a picture with you guys yesterday with my friend as smoke detector and crock pot, so thank you for that. That was fun.
That's an
Slow cook.
uplifting
Slow cook.
picture.
Slow cook. Slow cook.
My question is, now that you guys have done 36 episodes together, you've kind of seen each other's versatility as actors. My question is there a particular actor, coworker on set that you picture in a particular role or would like to see in a particular role?
Gosh, I think my cast could do anything. I mean, honestly, I see. Wouldn't it be crazy if all of a sudden there's a This Is Us episode, like some kind of crime anthology?
You do that?
Like, you know, there's that show like American Crime, and then it's just like they do like tell different crime stories. How crazy would that be if all of a sudden the ensemble of This Is Us is just telling a different story, like
Completely different.
The Wizard of Oz?
That would be the weirdest crossover.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
I see every single one of our cast members doing like a superhero. You know? That'd be awesome. Different superheroes, how about that? There we go.
It works. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tony. I'm a school teacher.
First of all, thank you for being a school teacher.
You're welcome.
No, seriously, that's awesome.
I just wanted to ask this question. You guys probably don't have data or statistics, but do you get feedback from your fans about how the show has influenced adoption?
Yes. I do not have hard facts about, let's say, adoption spiking up because of the show. But what I have gotten is walking off of a plane in New York from Berlin with Chrissy Metz, and a woman walked up to us, and me specifically, and said, you know, my husband and I adopted a boy, and he was having a really hard time, our son was. And we were watching the show, and my husband was also having a hard time. But he watched how you were as a father on that show in trying to connect and relate to your adopted son, and it's really helped us, and in turn helped our son. You know, it was really a significant and impactful thing, and it also made me as an artist think about what we're imparting on an audience, and even subconsciously putting out into the world, and it's good, and it's hope, and it's inclusion, and it's all those wonderful things that I think a lot of us are missing in our own lives and kind of the world right now. So it feels nice to be a part of that statistic.
And believe it or not, I mean, the show is it is emotional, and you know, it does take you places that are, that you probably aren't comfortable going to all the time, or you don't want to live in all the time. But honestly, we're laughing all the time on that set, and I think that's what allows us to sort of go there for those moments, is that we're constantly laughing.
It's a happy group.
It's such a happy, well, we love our jobs, we're happy to be there, but also it's just, these people are hilarious. It's like, you know, and then one minute you'll be laughing, and then like literally 3 minutes later you're crying with somebody. It's kind of, we probably look like crazy people.
That's how Mandy Moore would describe you guys.
Crazy people?
Because the funny part is, like, there's the present day version of the show, and that's like you and Sterling and Chrissy and Sully and John Huertas and, you know, Susan Everett, and Mandy would talk about everything's very light and fun and exciting, and poor Mandy's like, you know, I lost my husband, I lost a baby, like all these things.
Yeah.
And she would always talk to me, like, man, it's so happy over there. And like on our show, it's like more heart and the kids and all this. And
yeah, we're partying.
you guys totally are. But she'll talk about how you'll be laughing, ha ha, and jump right in.
But there's a real trust amongst you guys to be able to do that, I imagine.
Yeah.
And a real camaraderie, and I think that's one of the things that is very clear to the audience and makes it so watchable.
So my question for you guys is, who is your favorite character that isn't your character, and why?
Mine switches from day to day. It's like,
It changes all the time.
it's like someone asking me what your favorite flavor of ice cream is. Mine always changes.
Yeah.
What is it today, Justin?
Jack?
Mine's Kevin.
I think
No, actually, yeah. Sorry, I was gonna say I'm with Justin. Mine changes moment to moment. But what I always see and I always appreciate are these beautiful performances that give such life to these men and women that you guys all know. I mean, you guys watch the TV. You know, we're in your homes, and you're like, wow, no, you're Kevin, you're Jack, and I see what you're going through. You know, for us, even on the other side of things, like I see moments that everyone does on the show, and it blows me away, and it inspires me, and it's, you know.
Me too. And it's also, I have the privilege of not only working with these people, but being friends with these people. They're tremendous human beings. so talented, but great men and women, more importantly. And so when you see these performances that they blow me away. I mean, there's no better acting on TV than what my co-stars are doing. And so I'm just proud of them because I love them as people and they're friends of mine, and I'm just so proud of you guys when I see stuff like that. It's really it's fantastic.
Same.
How hard is it to be that emotional connection and constantly be present and put out that energy? And now that you've been on different shows that touch so many people, how hard is it to switch that gear from one person where you're Jack or you're Kevin, and then the next person you're from Heroes of Smallville? I totally forgot the names because I'm super nervous. But
it's easy. Yeah.
Or Pros. It's easy.
It's easy. People are when they come up, they are connected, and so if you're as present as they are, then there you have it.
Also, to say it's not even switching from character to character. He gets to be Justin. I get to be Milo. And who Justin is a great man. And who I am, I'm okay. But we are in the fortunate position to have people walking up to both of us, happy, excited, wanting to share their stories. So how can either of us or anyone on this side of things not respect and honor that actual human being? Again, it's nice from you. It's nice. Who you are is the most special thing ever. So I would always encourage artists, actors, actresses, anything, be yourself. Honestly, be yourself, because what you bring is going to be different than anybody else when you are yourself.
It's a tough thing to do, and also, persevere and keep going. That's also a tough thing to do. And I think, one of the things to remember is that to have success in this business is to 90% of the time fail. That's success.
Get kicked in the teeth constantly.
Yeah, but just keep going, because no one knows what they're talking about. That's what I would say.
Be yourself, be honest. That is great advice. I can't thank you enough for sitting here with us this hour. This has been amazing. Have you guys had fun?